Florence Scovel Shinn believed deeply that there are no true losses in life, only disguised opportunities for greater good. When we face a setback, whether in finances, trading, or personal endeavors, it often feels like the end of the road. The natural human response is to focus on what is gone, to replay the mistake, and to feel the weight of disappointment. But according to Scovel, this is only one side of the picture. What looks like a loss on the surface is often a divine exchange, a hidden gift wrapped in disguise. The universe, through its higher order, removes what no longer serves us so that something greater can enter. Imagine a trader who loses heavily in the market. To the mind, this looks like failure. But perhaps the loss saved him from greater risk, taught him discipline, or redirected his strategy toward a more sustainable path. What appears as subtraction is, in reality, a correction and preparation for multiplication. Scovel's philosophy encourages us not to fear these moments but to welcome them as part of the larger plan. She often reminded her readers that nothing is ever truly lost, it is simply transformed. When money, opportunities, or possessions leave, they are not gone forever. They are part of a cycle, a clearing of space, a pruning that allows fresh growth. Just as a gardener trims the branches of a plant to help it flourish, life trims away attachments and illusions so that true abundance can take root. Every so-called loss is simply a step towards something that carries greater value. To adopt this perspective is to shift from despair to expectation. Instead of saying, "I have lost everything," one can declare, "Something better is on its way." This is the essence of divine investment, the understanding that the universe never withdraws without depositing more in return. The temporary emptiness becomes a channel through which new blessings can flow. In practical terms, this means that setbacks in business can awaken new ideas, failed partnerships can make space for stronger connections, and financial struggles can refine a person's character, teaching patience, humility, and resilience. Scovel insisted that the key lies in perception. If you choose to see only defeat, then loss becomes permanent. But if you see the hidden gift, loss transforms into a bridge to abundance. Life reflects the images we hold in mind and heart. When we meet challenges with faith, gratitude, and expectancy, we activate the law of compensation. Something greater always replaces what has been taken away. The hidden gift in every loss is that it refines us, strengthens us, and prepares us for blessings we may not yet imagine. Florence Scovel Shinn often emphasized that the words we speak carry creative power. They are not just sounds in the air but vibrations that shape reality. In the world of finance and trading, where emotions run high and outcomes are uncertain, language becomes a tool that can either destroy or uplift. When a person faces losses, the natural tendency is to complain, to declare defeat, or to speak words of fear such as, "I always fail," or "I will never recover." According to Scovel, these words are like seeds planted in the soil of life, and they will eventually grow into the very reality they describe. The more someone repeats words of lack, the more lack they invite. But when an individual consciously chooses to speak affirmations of abundance and renewal, even in the face of financial downturns, they change the vibration of their circumstances. In her teachings, Scovel explained that affirmations are not empty phrases but declarations of divine truth. When one says, "I see only abundance ahead," or "Every dollar lost returns to me multiplied," they are aligning their mind with the higher laws of prosperity. This shift in speech is powerful because it transforms the inner atmosphere. The emotions of fear, anxiety, and despair begin to dissolve, replaced by faith, calm, and expectation of good. A trader or investor who practices this discipline finds that their words guide their decisions. Instead of panicking and making reckless moves, they act with clarity and patience, knowing that divine law always restores balance. Words also act as signals to the subconscious mind. When you declare abundance, your inner self starts to search for opportunities, patterns, and solutions that match that declaration. Conversely, negative speech blinds you to possibilities, keeping you locked in cycles of limitation. This is why Scovel insisted that during times of loss or uncertainty, one must guard their tongue more than ever. Speaking in faith when everything looks bleak is not denial of reality. It is commanding reality to shift. It is recognizing that divine power responds not to fear but to conviction. The power of spoken word in finance is the power to redirect energy. Just as a compass points the traveler toward their destination, words point life toward the outcome we expect. When someone affirms wealth and stability, even amidst chaos, they begin to notice new channels of income, unexpected opportunities, and favorable turns of events. Losses that once felt crushing become temporary setbacks on a much larger journey of growth. The practice of mindful speech is not only a spiritual discipline, but also a practical tool for resilience in the financial world. By shaping words, we shape outcomes, and by aligning speech with faith, we turn every downturn into a stepping stone toward prosperity. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that faith is the greatest investment a person can ever make, one that outperforms any market or financial strategy. Markets rise and fall, currencies gain and lose value, businesses succeed and fail. But faith has a timeless return that cannot be shaken. In moments of uncertainty, many people place all their trust in numbers, charts, or predictions, forgetting that true wealth is anchored in something far greater. Florence reminded her readers that behind every material form lies a spiritual cause, and when that cause is faith, abundance naturally follows. Faith is not simply belief in vague possibilities, it is the unwavering conviction that divine order is at work even when outer conditions appear unfavorable. Consider a trader who faces a sudden downturn. The charts may show loss, the news may predict doom, and fear may tempt him to act rashly. But if he invests in faith rather than panic, he chooses to trust the process. Instead of saying, "It is over for me," he declares, "I will be guided to better opportunities." This act of faith is itself an invisible investment, one that pays back through calm judgment, renewed ideas, and doors opening in unexpected places. Florence often wrote that miracles begin where human logic ends, and faith bridges the gap between limitation and possibility. Faith also strengthens resilience. Financial systems are built on fluctuations. Fortunes can disappear in an instant. Without faith, people collapse under pressure, make decisions from fear, and magnify their losses. With faith, however, a person becomes unshakable. They can face volatility without losing their inner balance. They can see setbacks not as punishments, but as divine detours leading them closer to prosperity. Faith becomes a shield against despair and a compass pointing toward abundance. Moreover, Florence described faith as an aligning force. It aligns us with divine timing, ensuring that opportunities appear when we are truly ready for them. Many times, people chase wealth prematurely, only to lose it just as quickly. But when guided by faith, the path unfolds with precision. What belongs to you cannot be withheld when you trust the higher laws. Faith transforms waiting into preparation, uncertainty into expectation, and fear into fuel for perseverance. The greatest truth in Scovel's teaching is that faith never fails as an investment. Every ounce of trust placed in divine order returns multiplied, though not always in the way one imagines. Sometimes it comes as financial gain, sometimes as protection from greater loss, and sometimes as inner wisdom that leads to lasting stability. But the return always comes. Faith is the currency of the unseen, and those who spend it generously find themselves living in abundance, no matter how the outer world may fluctuate. Florence Scovel Shinn believed that what we call scarcity is often just a temporary illusion, a passing phase that conceals the potential for multiplication. When life seems to take away resources, opportunities, or security, it is not because we are destined for lack, but because space is being made for something greater. She taught that divine law never leaves a vacuum. Whatever is released must be replaced, and often it returns in multiplied form. This is why she urged people not to cling to what is gone, but to surrender losses with faith, trusting that something better is on its way. In finances and trading, this perspective can change despair into hope. A loss in the market may feel like a door closing, yet it could be the very event that clears the path for a wiser, more profitable direction. Scarcity only has power when we believe it is final. The moment we shift our perspective and see it as a stage of transformation, we begin to unlock divine multiplication. Scovel explained that the universe responds to our inner state. If we cling to fear, we attract more fear. If we embrace faith and release with gratitude, we create space for abundance to flow back. Just as a farmer must plant seeds into the dark soil and let them disappear before harvest can come, so too must we allow certain things to leave our lives so that greater blessings can grow. Loss becomes an investment when we recognize it as planting for the future. This principle is not abstract, it applies in practical ways. A failed business can give birth to a new idea that succeeds beyond imagination. A financial setback can teach discipline and patience, leading to long-term stability. Even personal sacrifices, when embraced with trust, can open the door to relationships and opportunities that multiply the value of what was given up. The multiplication may not always be immediate, but it is certain when faith is steady. Florence often reminded her readers that divine timing is perfect, and the universe returns in its own season, never late and never lacking. To transform scarcity into multiplication requires a conscious choice. It means declaring, even in the face of emptiness, that I open my life to greater abundance. It means seeing endings as beginnings and treating every closed chapter as fertile ground for miracles. Scarcity is not punishment, it is preparation. And when faced with the courage to release and the wisdom to trust, the return always comes, often in ways more abundant than we could have imagined. This is the essence of turning losses into divine investments, the certainty that nothing truly leaves without returning multiplied.